What's up, y'all? Y'all read the title? Let's get into it. Number 1, wife beaters. Who thought that was okay? Quickly, I understand in media, men who wore those shirts were notorious for beating their partner, but that doesn't make it okay. Just because I understand it doesn't mean I'm going to enable or promote it. And even when people chop off the wife and just call them beaters, it's like, why are we minimizing abuse? You know, to me, it's nasty. Number 2, people complaining about sex workers doing their jobs and getting paid for their work. As long as there is a market and a demand for a product, good, and or service, there's going to be a supply for those things. So if you don't like that, you either need to A, free your mind from the shackles of NSFW content, or B, dismantle capitalism. And that doesn't appear to be going anywhere anytime soon. You know, men are interesting specimens. They'll hate you with their dick in their hands. And no, they're not the only ones complaining, but I've noticed they're certainly louder with their grievances. Real quick, I'm not gonna keep saying some men every time I point out a pattern because I trust reasonable people know I'm not talking about every single man. I'm not a raging misandrist, so I'm not trying to paint the picture that all men are trash and women are perfect, because that should be obvious. So if it don't apply, let it fly. I'm talking about behaviors and dynamics that are common, so common that they've shaped how we experience womanhood, girlhood, and femininity. Misogyny is systemic. It's upheld by men, but also by institutions, media, and yes, even by people who don't identify as men. In conclusion, this isn't an us versus them thing, nor is it even about blame. It's just about patterns that I've observed everywhere. So this is for the women and everyone else betwixt in between. We all sell and sacrifice our bodies and souls to some degree, and that's quite literally the essence of capitalism. It's the definition of capitalism. I thought we were supposed to rise, grind, and pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. Are sex workers not doing that too? Literally, no pun intended, but pun intended. Isn't that America's plot? Like, that's not the entire storyline of what America is? To believe one is alive for a purpose, and that purpose is to work and make money. Oftentimes, Western societies treat human value as extrinsic, meaning work, money, achievements. So our worth is transactional as it's tied to economic output. So technically, by Western ideals, since they're creating a profit, they too should be viewed and treated as esteemed, respectable, honorable beings. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now, do I believe our merit should be tied to what one can produce and accomplish? No, all beings are inherently valid without the need for external justification. I'm just using their logic. Now, a different conversation is to be had about the predatory nature of the sex industry with things like trafficking, underage victims, and people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds and or marginalized identities resorting to this industry for a myriad of reasons, along with the pendulum swing from purity culture to sex positivity to hypersexuality. But I doubt the Instagram comment section is referring to all that since they're too busy hurling insults and stroking it concurrently. Number 3, the vulgar sexual language that's used when discussing women. For example, when men are recollecting on the people whom they've slept with in the past, you'll hear a lot of, I hit that, I tapped that, still smashed that though, I beat it up, I cracked that. And I'm speaking that way so you can really soak in the language that's being used because they're acknowledging their humanity by using personal pronouns or just making themselves the center of the conversation. They use a violent verb to then describe the action that occurred. And lastly, the language that they use to refer to the woman is not acknowledging her autonomy as a human, but as an object. I don't kink shame unless you're in a race play, so there's nothing wrong with wanting to be assertive and dominant in the bedroom. I just don't understand why the referential language outside of the bedroom is so obscene. Because the female body, woman and girlhood, and the feminine identity have been so sexualized, it appears it's almost impossible for men to court a woman without having some fantasy playing in the background of their head like a LLM. It's concerning when a person can't appreciate the beauty of a woman without wanting to fuck, especially when the language is barbaric. Women aren't fleshlights. If you want to beat something, beat your meat. I mean, we are grown at the end of the day. If you want to have sex with a woman, you can do that, but be cognizant about what you're saying and how you're going about saying it. Number 4, censoring of women's breasts. Y'all lies the teat. I didn't. If I wanted to walk around with my bare bosoms, I should be able to do that as I so choose. But since I'm a woman, I have a bit more fat in my breast, I can't do that. But a man can walk around his no shirt, post online no shirt, not get charged with public indecency, post not get flagged. But if I wanted to do it, I would go to jail and my accounts would get banned. There's no way to rationalize that other than misogyny. It'd be a lot of walking around here with titties too and they get to wear them out freely. And this is not a non-issue. This is something I am extremely passionate about because it is gender inequality. This goes against my 8th Amendment. This is cruel and unusual punishment. I'm starting a petition. It's unconstitutional, it's un-American, and it's unfair. If you sexualize boobs, you're the gross one. The sole purpose of a breast on a biological level is to feed your offspring, to provide nutrition for your baby. What's inherently provocative about that? I mean, come on. Boobs are considered indecent exposure because men decided they were sexual. People are creepy, so a lot of women wouldn't want to do that, which I 100% understand. But my argument is that we should at least have the option because our bodies aren't intrinsically sexual things. 33 states have legalized top freedom, 15 states have ambiguous state laws, and 13 states do not allow it. Even in the states where it's legal, most of me believes it would depend on the local cultures and municipalities, but we're not free until we're all free. It's not fair that men can get on these platforms with their shirts off, but if I did it, my YouTube channel would instantly be Thanos. Like, you can have boobs, they just can't be woman boobs. They have to be man boobs. Honestly, what happens to free to nipple? I was joking about the petition, but I should definitely start one. If you're gonna make it to where the only time a woman can have her chest out on a platform is when she's showing her mastectomy, men shouldn't be able to either. If it's the last thing I do, I'm going to ensure that men get their rights stripped in the name of fairness, or just grant us the ability to let our prominences located on the upper ventral region of the torso hang freely as well. The only reason I didn't start the petition is because I wouldn't know what to do with it afterwards. So if any of you guys are organizers, let me know. My delivery is a bit /s, but I'm serious as a heart attack. Number 5. Birth control. Hormonal birth control specifically. Why in the Sam Hill is hormonal birth control only available to AFAB folks and there is no equivalent for AMAB folks? The only form of birth control they have is condoms and vasectomies, and they just in recent years attempted clinical tests on men. Now, I did a little searching before this video, so I didn't sound like a complete ignoramus, and what I've gathered is that it's relatively tricky because men are always fertile, but that's exactly why y'all need to speed this shit the fuck up. These niggas be horny and procreating a million times faster than a woman ever could. I understand female fertility has hormonal changes that are easier to influence, but it still feels misogynistic to me. I don't know. Like, even saying that sentence, it's easier to influence. It's just like, ugh. But I learned that some men would gladly take it despite the side effects, and some wouldn't touch it with a long-handled spoon because of the side effects.
But imagine how tired we are. Imagine how tired we are of it.
That's a conversation completely out of my wheelhouse. But what I will say is that parents who put their preteen and teenage daughters on birth control that aren't having, that's kid misogyny. That happened to a few of my friends growing up, and I truly could not wrap my mind around that. And I even once asked my mama, I was like, why don't you put me on birth control, and would you let me take it for my acne, on 2 separate occasions? And for the first question, she was like, are you having sex? And I was like, no. And then she was like, well, why would you need to be on it? And for the acne thing, she mentioned it might have been more trouble than it's worth because when she was on it, it had negative effects on her. And those are probably the most sensical things she's ever said. Number 6, bras. Their existence isn't an issue, but how we're expected to wear them so we don't offend folks with our nipples and imperfections. But baby, I'm a D cup. I'm not a D, I'm a double D. I just resized my breast with this measuring tape right here. The last time I measured my boobies was when I was in like 9th grade, and I'm in my 20s now. I'm basically making a stallion.
Real big titties, these double ditties.
I refuse to wear that torture device if I don't want to. Well, I'm not that bold. Like, I'll wear them for special occasions or even for filming. And if I don't wear a bra, I'll wear like a tank top that'll kind of round my breast out. But I opted out for this video because I wanted to stand on my business and show all my big titty babes and my little titty babes that if you don't want to wear a bra, you don't have to. I'm working on deconditioning that part of myself. Hashtag bra propaganda. Hashtag free the nipple. My boobies may not sit in my neckline, but one thing about me, not wearing a bra if I don't have to. Sorry, not. Hashtag free the nipple. Bras are misogynistic. Number 7, changing your last name when you get married. I know. Feminism, third wave, fifth, whatever wave we're on. According to TikTok, I have some pretty questionable opinions about jumping the broom, but this ain't one of them. Today, when women change their last names, they do so of their own volition, and women who do not are equally justified in the choice. But for the longest time, I was under the impression that women had to take their husband's last name because nobody ever told me otherwise, and I believe that was very intentional. Women used to be mere property, and that's it. But I found this article online and I wanted to read this section. In the context of the historical definition, coverture is the legal status of a married woman considered to be under her husband's protection and authority. Part of this common law at first was something called coverture. Coverture is a legal formation that held that no female person had a legal identity. A female baby was covered by her father's identity, and then when she was married, by her husband's. Under coverture, a husband and wife became one under marriage. It sounds romantic, but the one was the husband. She becomes legally dead. So it's not that women take the last name of their husbands, which is how we think of it. It's that they become part of the husband's body. Now, some couples aren't worried about the history since enough time has passed and do it out of love, family unity, tradition, healing, etc. I won't be doing that. I initially told my partner if we were to marry, I'd hyphenate, but we decided to make our own last name. You know you can do that too, right? Girl, when I found that out, we had a key. We're creating our own. Fun fact, my man got his mama last name. She gave all her babies her last name. Hashtag women in male fields. We stand. Have no choice but to. Number 8. Ugly, incompetent dad, sexy, smart mama trope. I cannot stand it. Think Marge and Homer Simpson. Every time that trope is used, an angel loses her wings. Truly, it is so tired. Next, I don't understand adopting patriarchal values while having a matriarchal work ethic. It's just literal misogyny. Number 9, the word female. Female in its biological context isn't inherently offensive, but outside of science or anatomy, it's often used as a pejorative, a way to strip women of their humanity and reduce us to function. Number 1, not all women are biologically female and not all females are women. Intersex, trans, and gender non-conforming people do exist. Number 2, not all women want to or can bear a child. And number 3, while yes, female is used to describe parts that receive a male insert, I wasn't designed to receive anything. So thanks for proving my point. When you call women females, you're reducing us to our reproductive potential, and we're a hell of a lot more than that. You might as well call me a bitch. Get slapped if you want to though. Number 10, last but not least, religion. Mainly Abrahamic religions, but I won't be elaborating further. That's it for today's video. I just thought I'd get on here and share my thoughts about things that feel misogynistic, that aren't misogynistic, but are misogynistic. I called it microaggressive misogyny. Microaggressions and racism, I was like, yeah, maybe that can like translate to misogyny, but there's probably a completely different word for it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, comment, subscribe, turn on that bell, tune into my last video. If you enjoy my work and you would like to donate, here's my Ko-Fi on the screen. If not, your contribution just by girl, I cannot talk. Mercury must be Gatorade or something. Mercury doesn't retrograde until July 20 something. Yeah, girl, I'm an astrology girl. I'm exposing myself. Yes, I like astrology. That means all of everything that I've said in the past is no longer valid because women cannot like astrology because we're stupid, because we are dumb. The stars cannot control you. God can.